Everyone. My name is Jacob Walls from the Azure Customer Success team, and I'll be your host for today's iteration of Coffee with Customer Success. First and foremost, I would like to thank you all for taking time out of your day and joining us for this special edition of Coffee with Customer Success, as I'm excited for this webinar as we are joined by our professional services team here at NetApp to discuss mastering your data estate with the NetApp Console. A big thank you to Shibam, Bharat, and Sharath in leading us in today's session, where we're going to cover the following topics: a hands-on walkthrough of NetApp Console's features, deployment modes, system discovery and management, enterprise storage management, data services, real-world use cases from our customers. Before we begin, just a few quick reminders that questions can be submitted at any time via the Q&A panel, and our engineering team will address questions at the conclusion of the presentation. We encourage active participation, so please do not hesitate to engage us throughout the webinar. And now I would like to invite Bharat to start our presentation.
Thanks, Jacob. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our session, Mastering Your Data Estate with the NetApp Console. My name is Bharat. I'm a professional service engineer at NetApp. I'm joining along with Shubham and Sharath and Jacob. Today, we'll explore how NetApp Console can help you efficiently manage your data infrastructure. Let's start by understanding what NetApp Console is all about. NetApp Console built on three major principles. One console, simplified operations, security first. NetApp Console simplifies not just one task, but your entire operational ecosystem. From onboarding to protection to monitoring, everything becomes easier because because everything connects through single and secure interface. For managing your devices, you don't need to jump across portals, tools, or interfaces anymore. Console gives you real-time insights, alerts, and guided workflows. Security is a fundamental aspect of NetApp Console. It uses identity-first access. It ensures only authorized users can access your data. It uses least privilege hierarchy, where users are given the minimum level of access to perform their tasks. Now let's look at who benefits from this console. Imagine you are managing vast data estate with the multiple storage systems and services. Keeping track of everything can be overwhelming. This is where NetApp Console comes into picture. It acts as centralized management plane that brings everything together in one place. By using centralized management plane, you don't need to use multiple tools and interfaces for managing your devices. Console offers a unified platform where you can manage all the APIs, integrations, toolsets. Security is a top priority with the NetApp Console. Only privileged users can access your data. In your organization, different personas need different things. DevOps wants agility, app owners want performance, SRE wants stability, finance wants clarity. NetApp Console is designed to make your life easier. It provides a comprehensive, unified interface for managing all these tools. NetApp Console works with all types of storage, NetApp systems, your physical hardware, cloud storage from partners that use NetApp technology, and CVOs across all the three major cloud providers. So let's get into the structure behind this unified experience. In the previous slide, we have seen high-level details of the NetApp console and its categories. In this slide, we'll explore different categories, data services, and features offered by NetApp console. Everything you need is grouped under clear categories: systems, protection, governance, health, workload, mobility, administration. Under each category, you have powerful data services like backup and recovery, disaster recovery, tiering, replication, and more. NetApp Console offers mix of free and chargeable features. Console core essential functionalities that are available at no additional cost. For example, if you are using basic monitoring, if you are using system discovery and a fundamental data management tools, they are absolutely free. Chargeable features, advanced features that comes with the support and additional capabilities, they are chargeable. For example, if you are using enhanced data production services or advanced analytics and premium support options, so they comes under chargeable features. Now let's talk about how console actually fits into your environment. We'll now discuss the different deployment modes available and how they support your operational and regulatory requirements. Before we get into modes, let's understand core components. So what exactly is a NetApp console? It consists of two main components. SaaS layer, where console itself is hosted. It is accessible from web browser. Console agent, which we refer as a connector, deployed in private network. Agent needs to be deployed either on premise or in cloud, depending on your specific use cases. SaaS layer, this is where all the data management and the tools, data management tools and the data services are running. On the agent side, agent needs to be installed close to your storage systems for two key reasons. One is to communicate with the storage system by making API calls, and another one is to provide necessary computing power for certain data services that requires it. Now, let's explore deployment modes. Yeah. NetApp Console gives you different setup options based on your business and security needs. Each mode works differently in terms of internet connectivity, where it is installed, how you set it up, how you log in, what features are available. So let's talk about a standard mode. You access NetApp Console through a website as a SaaS layer. Admin sets up one or more agents to manage your data across your systems. Data transfers securely over internet using encryption. In standard mode, all features are available. It supports all storage and data services. Coming to restricted mode, agent is installed in the cloud with a limited outbound connectivity to NetApp SaaS layer. Users access NetApp console locally from the web-based console that is available from the connector, not from the SaaS layer. So this mode is typically used by state and local governments and regulated companies. When it comes to private mode, NetApp console or agent is installed on your on-premise or in the cloud, so with no internet connectivity to the SaaS layer. So it is the same as a restricted mode. Users access NetApp console locally from the web-based console that is available from the agent, not from the SaaS layer. So that is completely, restricted. A private mode is completely isolated from SaaS layer. So let's look at a deployment architectures. Yeah. This slide shows how traffic flows across the agent, browser, and the services. In standard mode, NetApp console and its agents communicates over HTTPS. This mode supports both storage and data services. This model is ideal for most general purpose use cases, providing a balance of security and functionality. Restricted mode is designed for environments that requires additional security measures. In this mode, NetApp console and agent communicates over a VPN or a VPC by using HTTPS. This mode supports storage and limited services. It is suitable for organizations that need to maintain strict control over their network traffic and data access. Moving on to private mode. Private mode is tailored for highly secure and isolated environments. In this mode, connector is deployed on premise and communicate directly with the storage systems without relying on external network. This mode supports a limited storage and services, and it's ideal for organizations operating in dark sites or environment where uh, in, in the environments with no internet connectivity. Yeah, it ensures that all data and management activities remains within your local network. So let's look at console agent specs. Yeah. Let's talk about console agent deployment prerequisites. Depending upon the requirement, we need to decide where to deploy this agent. So if you are just discovering on-premise storage clusters or storage grids on your data center, you can go ahead and deploy it on-prem. If we are planning to deploy CVO on any of the hyperscale, then we can deploy the agent on the hyperscale. If it runs on a Linux operating system, currently it supports RHEL and Ubuntu. It uses Docker and Podman container runtime environments. While installation, it validates the configuration. While installation, it validates the configuration. It supports the proxies, and if console agent is having internet connectivity, then auto updates will happen on periodically. On regular basis, auto updates will happen. Moving on to next slide. In this section, we'll talk about a system discovery and management. Yeah. We'll focus on how NetApp Console simplifies system discovery and deployment. We start by adding a systems directly once you install console agent. So we start adding a systems directly from the console. Here we'll select a location and environment type. NetApp Console supports a quick discovery for systems that are already reachable. Discoverable systems can be brought into console with a single click. It will significantly reduce manual effort. Once the systems are discovered, they are associated with relevant subscriptions. That gives us immediate visibility and control. So we can choose predefined policies for a faster onboarding. We can use custom policies to meet a specific customer or workload requirements. So once discovery and setup are complete, the systems are ready for cluster management. Yeah. Uh, In this slide, we'll focus on enterprise storage management within NetApp Console. With a Console, customers can deploy, discover, manage storage environments across on-prem and cloud infrastructure from a single interface. This slide gives you overall view of ONTAP management directly within the NetApp console. From a single screen, we can see cluster level details such as system serial numbers, system IDs, installed licenses. This provides a quick identification and a licensing visibility without navigating to multiple tools. Console also provides storage efficiency metrics. It will provide on-tab version details, and it will give you ability to check the release notes. It will provide a capacity distribution details, helping administrators to quickly understand the system status and utilization. It will provide you the volume level overview, and it will give you ability to add new volumes. NetApp console also identifies steering data, showing current configuration along with recommendations. So it will highlight the replication activity with replication details for better data protection awareness. So backup and recovery settings are visible. Um, Customers can make, if customers want to change the settings, they can change it from this console. When under deeper configuration, if the deeper configuration is required, users can, if users wants to do advanced configuration, I mean additional configuration related settings, they can perform by using, they can switch to advanced mode, which will opens the familiar ONTAP system manager view. Let's move on to next slide. Yeah. From the console, NetApp console, we along with we can perform a volume. Uh, sorry. Yeah. Volume management functions also can be performed from this console. NetApp console allows you to perform standard volume management functions such as creating volumes, modifying, managing the volumes as part of day-to-day operations. If we wanted to create any snapshot, if we wanted to change a snapshot policy, if we wanted to restore from a snapshot, so all these functionalities are available from the NetApp console. Other than that, it will allow you to, if you can use mount, if you wanted to mount the volume, you can use mount come options, and everything can be specified here. Yeah. If customer wants to have a deep, so we have seen in the previous slides day-to-day operations about volume management, the volume provisioning, all these details. If customer needs deeper routine operations, then they can make use of NetApp console provides direct access to advanced view, ensuring there is no compromise on capability. This advanced view offers same functionality as the standalone ONTAP System Manager UI. So experienced administrator continue to work with familiar tools and workflows. I'll move on to next slide. Yeah. Let's talk about some of the popular data services which are available on the console. So we have a multiple services which are available. So in this presentation, we are talking about only data backup and recovery, data classification, and ransomware protection. So we have a couple of other services, but we are not covering in this presentation. Yeah. NetApp Console backup and recovery service ensures that your data is securely backed up and can be efficiently recovered using 3 to 1 strategy. In 3 to 1 strategy, we'll have a 3 copies of data, 2 different storage medias, 1 offsite backup. For example, this service helps you to maintain 1 primary copy on your local storage, secondary copy on different storage system, and a third copy is stored offsite in the cloud, ensuring maximum data protection and readiness, recovery readiness. So with the new releases has been redesigned to provide data protection for all of your workloads. This includes support for volumes, databases, VMs, and Kubernetes. Now, from a unified control plane, you can easily define 3 to 1 data protection strategy for all your NetApp data. On this slide, you can see some of the protections that are protection workloads that are currently available. I'm moving on to next slide. Yeah. So in this slide, we are going to talk about NetApp data classification. 80 to 90% of enterprise data is unstructured and often trapped in silos across hybrid multi-cloud environments. Many organizations don't know what information lies within their data, especially when it is siloed. So this lack of visibility can make it challenging to compile with regulations like GDPR, HIPAA, or PCI DSS. The solution is data classification. Data classification is growing critically important for enterprises of all sizes. NetApp data classification uses advanced AI machine learning and NLP to automatically scan, map, and classify both structured and unstructured data. Instead of relying on some simple pattern matching, it understands data context, enabling more accurate identification of sensitive and regulated information. NetApp classification automatically discovers and maps data across multiple cloud environments. It gives you a clear view of how much data exists and where it resides and what type of data it contains. Files can be analyzed by attributes such as file types, file size, age, last accessed, and location. So making it easy to identify redundant and obsolete. Let's talk about the service, which is ransomware protection. One of the most critical area of data management today is ransomware protection. The first thing the system does is looking for vulnerabilities, places where your environment might be exposed or at risk. So, but a detection is not enough. NetApp goes a step further. It gives you clear, actionable recommendations to fix those risks immediately. NetApp also manages and configures industry-leading anti-ransomware tools behind the screen scenes. It will use Snaplog, Snapshot, and multi-admin verification. These are some of anti-ransomware tools which will be used behind the screens. So your data is protected continuously. And in the worst case scenario, if any attack does happen, then NetApp Console helps you to bounce back quickly. Yeah. We'll in the upcoming section we'll talk about capabilities to meet measurable business values. Now let's summarize the benefits of using NetApp Console. So with the centralized management from one place, you can see all your NetApp environments on-prem and cloud. Uh, by using this, you can discover, deploy, configure, monitor, and manage them in a consistent way. Data protection and resilience. So console helps you to activate and orchestrate on-tap protections such as replication, backup, ransomware controls. So you can enforce best practices and it will meet your RPO, RTO targets. By using intuitive interface and a guided workflows, shorten the learning curve. Data boards surface so that real-time alerts and insights, so you can act before issue becomes incident. Yeah. Let's summarize the key takeaways from today's presentation. We discussed about how NetApp Console helps you efficiently manage your data estate. It provides unified interface for managing your data services and storage orchestration, ensuring that you can oversee your entire data infrastructure seamlessly. We have explored the capabilities of the NetApp console in discovering, importing, and deploying the systems. Console simplifies the system management and automated workflows and intuitive work wizards, making it easier to add systems, select locations, and enable appropriate services. So we have highlighted different deployment modes that are available in the NetApp console. These modes allows you to tailor the deployment process to meet your specific requirements, ensuring flexibility and scalability. And so we have discussed about intelligent interface of the NetApp console that offers advanced features for data services and storage orchestration, which will enable you to optimize your management process. Okay. I'll hand over this to Shubham, so he'll give a demo.
Hi everyone. Let me quickly share my screen to start the demo.
I'll stop presenting, he'll share it.
So I hope like the conversation with Bharat till now. This is quick. Let me share my screen. Let me know if you can. Okay, my screen is visible. So this is a quick overview of how NetApp console demo environment looks like. So as soon as you log in to NetApp console, this is the main home dashboard where you will be basically be landed upon. So this home dashboard has been customized in the latest version, which basically gives you details around, since this is a demo environment, you don't see a lot of details in my dashboard. But as soon as you land in, you will find details about your provision storage systems, capacity, alert, performance, licenses, as well as details about the backup and recovery. If you scroll down, the new enhancement that has been added within the product is more around the documentation. As soon as any new updates are being pushed, new features are being added, the documentation is being kept up to date. And if you click any of those links below, it will basically take you to the updated documentation so you can hover around what new things has been added within the product or the data estate services within the product portfolio, right? So once you land in from there, the basic process to start it is with the storage management, and that's the key feature of the NetApp console, which allows you to manage your complete NetApp storage portfolio. It's just not restricted to Net ONTAP. It's not restricted to CVO. We are able to manage our all the first-party storage systems as well as our storage systems like E-Series and Storage Grid, which provides native services like S3. So once you land in here, you will basically be able to see all of your storage systems being discovered along with the buckets that has been configured for services like backup or services like Fabric Tool. The system, since it is a demo environment, this just has one native NetApp storage box, which is marked as on-prem. But a single console allows you to give you the capability to discover all the complete NetApp hybrid estate that you have within your environment. So once the things are being discovered, the basic process from there or the day two or day three activities that governs from there is basically becomes the storage management. And that's where if you just simply double click onto your discovered storage systems, you would be able to see all the details about your storage systems. It talks about storage efficiency, it talks about version, it talks about capacity, the number of volumes provisioned, replication, backups, and everything in here. Now, when this console was designed, the console was designed for keeping in mind every persona that can be there in the environment. And even we know like not all the person using NetApp storage are full-fledged embedded with the NetApp services and products. So we basically designed console in two ways. One is basically a simplified operations and management, where any kind of a person who is using NetApp console and he wants to use a console for any sort of day two activities, provision volumes, provision runs, even if that entity does not have a lot of details around how to manage or how what kind of details can be expected. This simple wizard guides you to with some very basic details which are kind of like global for any storage administrator, even if they are not well versed with NetApp. Provide basic details like volume names, aggregate, SVMs, and most of the things are like self-explanatory here, and they would be able to provision volumes for their end users and application. For personas who are well versed with ONTAP and they are using ONTAP from ages and they have understand how we have emerged with system manager over the year. Console has an embedded system manager, and if you just simply click on the system manager from here, it will basically guide you to the system manager of your ONTAP storage system, and you would be able to do the same activities that you used to do before. Now, this is one way to manage your system manager. The other basic way is if you just simply click on your discovered storage or devices, you would see an option on your right which basically talks about enabling the data services as well as the system manager on top of it. If you just simply click on open, it will take you to the system manager. So now this is the main part of console, which allows you to do management. It allows you to view alerts. The other part of console that we see specifically when we talk about data services, the focus area of today discussion was focused on two or three major data services. But obviously, NetApp has like a lot of data services in the NetApp console portfolio that can be of use. But if I just talk about two to three basic data services that we discussed, the first one was focused around backup and recovery. So this backup and recovery allows you to do backups of all, just not your traditional flex wall or flex group volumes. Obviously, it allows you to do the backups of your modern application like VMware, SQL, Kubernetes, even some of the native applications like KVM, Hyper-V, Oracle as well. All of these backups will be application consistent, and from the same UI, you would be able to do the 3 to 1 backup strategy with being like the single offsite copy to S3 as well. So from this single console, if you want to integrate any sort of a backup, let's say in simple case, if you just want to hover around a backup of volumes, you just simply click on volumes and you will be able to see all of your discovered storage systems, your discovered volumes, and you would be able to do the backup of all of your volumes from here. Now, the second key service that we discussed in today demo session was around NetApp data classification, which basically allows you to create classifications about your data, see some integrated details, specifically talking about stale data, duplicate files. So from a single dashboard UI, once your systems are integrated, you enable this NetApp data services, you would be able to see all the details about. Obviously, we can have a separate discussions about some of these data services in detail if needed. But in nutshell, this is how the service from within the UI looks like. You would be able to manage the service in and out. You would be able to create your own separate reports as well based upon the kind of investigation and compliance details that you are looking for. Now, the third key focus area for today's discussion was around ransomware resiliency. So that's where the product is being orchestrated to talk about all the portfolio of services that NetApp has in their ransomware resiliency strategy. Because ransomware is just not about one particular product or one particular service or one particular feature in total. So ransomware resiliency in nutshell allows you to basically hover through your all the products and services that NetApp ONTAP provides as part of their portfolio to allow you to enable the ransomware resiliency strategies on top of your workloads depending upon the best practices and needs of your application. So yeah, that was a quick demo around the console overview and uh, the data estate services that we provide, and I will hand it over back to Bharat.
Yeah, thank you, Shubham. With this, Yeah. Thank you for your attention throughout the presentation. At this point, we'd like to open the floor for any questions you might have.
I see there are a lot of questions in the chat. So if it's okay, Jacob, I will start answering those
Yeah,
questions
absolutely.
one by one.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first question, I think it talks about are restricted private HA capable, and I think if before that there was one more question which was talking about was there an OVA based
Yep.
method available for restricted mode
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
private?
can we unmute Tiago? I think he had three questions. And I tried to answer the one on the OVA, but I wasn't sure if it was just for the connector piece or the NetApp console piece itself. So,
Okay, so I'll take one by one all of those three. So the first
okay.
one around the private and restricted mode for OVA. So currently the OVA that we have for NetApp Console agent only supports standard mode and restricted mode. It does not support private mode for now. So the second question was around the HA-based deployment. So currently, none of the NetApp console deployment supports HA or high availability. The consoles are basically being deployed from the perspective of standalone for now. But in case if you have a requirement where you want to have like a resiliency for your console agents, what we propose for now is having a backup of your console VM since all of the metadata of the console sits in the SaaS, in case if you restore that backup of the VM or either being on-prem or in the cloud, you restore it in a different region or in the same region. Ideal process is to power off the existing agent in that particular case. And if you are turning on the new VM with the new agent, since the metadata is in the SaaS, you would be able to get back with the same state you were as before. So you will not lose any data in that particular regards. The third question is if multiple agents are deployed, do the agents have the database? So yeah, as I said before, so we don't currently have the HA capability. So we don't have these sort of configurations where HA or the databases are replicated between multiple nodes of cluster kind of a concept. So we don't support this for now.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you, Tiago.
I was just so I'm not sure if I follow. If you can maybe go back a little bit. So if I deploy an agent and let's say I've discovered, I don't know, 4 or 5 clusters, and I've been managing these clusters. So if I lose that one agent, do I have to reinstall the agent and rediscover all the clusters again? Is that what you're saying?
So if you have the backup of, or if you have created a backup of the agent in that particular case, and since we have the metadata of the all of your discovered things within our SaaS, we would be able to give you details about your systems by default. But since the local Azure vault or the local vault where the credentials are being stored are local to the VM, once the clusters are rediscovered, you would be asked to type in your credentials of the clusters again so that we are able to again help you with the system managers or any sort of a provisioning workflows that you have to do again. So you will not be asked to rediscover the cluster. The only thing in that regards you will be asked is to re-enter the credentials.
So how are the backups? Are we just talking like simple snapshot backups of that agent?
You can, if I talk about from the perspective of on-prem, it can be a native VM backup. In case of a cloud-based entity, yeah, then yes, we are talking about a snapshot backup.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, the next one is can classification engine scale back to one console database, meaning each data center region having a local region scan and collects and database. So yeah, you obviously you can have a model within a single account where you can have multiple NetApp consoles. Each NetApp console can basically host one NetApp classification virtual machine that can send the data back from that classification VM to that particular console. So a single account can have multiple console agents deployed, and within each console you can have one classification VM for each console. So that is possible. Any integration for management of storage grids? So storage grids can be discovered now within NetApp console. Can we move delete stale data or duplicate files identified by data classification. Yes, in the new release of data classification, this feature, which was removed before, has been re-added, but it is still in preview as of now. So it has been re-added in the latest version of NetApp data classification again, but it is in a preview for now. So you are being allowed with the capability to move the data if it has been classified as stale, duplicate, or something. Will console backup and recovery feature replace and I can't say anything about the future roadmap, so no answer on that particular regarding Snap Center. But yeah, obviously for now, console backup and recovery does allows you to do backups for some of the native workloads like FlexWall and FlexGroup, and obviously some of the modernized applications like Kubernetes or KVMs or VMware in that particular regards. If you have both AFS and in AWS and on-prem ONTAP in security factors and authentication. The best practices in that regard always depends upon the kind of network that you have, specifically from the perspective of monitoring. So let's say if I have a hybrid setup where I have storage resources being on-prem as well as resources in the cloud as well. If my VPN or my the channel that I'm using for my communication between on-prem to cloud is good, we are still able to work with that. Obviously, at the end of the day, if your console does not have a good, or if your bandwidth between your on-prem and cloud is not good, or if you, let's talk about if you have two different regions between any sort of a cloud provider and you don't have a good network between those, then it's a good practice to have connector in each specific region. But till the time you are meeting those network requirements, you are able to allow those ports for us to discover the resources. We are good with that. Uh, for now, we don't support running agent in OpenShift. The OVA based deployment can only be the OVA based version can only run in VMware. Obviously, if you are just running OpenShift and you are using OpenShift virtualization, so you can host a virtual machine on top of your OpenShift virtualization cluster, and you can run on top of that. Like if within the slide we have showcased like RHEL, Ubuntu are supported operating system. So using OpenShift virtualization, you can host a virtual machine and you can run on NetApp Console on top of that. But the OVA for now is only supported for VMware.
Hey, and Barrett, I'm going to jump in here for the next question and just read it out loud so that for the recording, the folks that hear this later will know the questions that we're talking about. So from Kevin Campion, it says, it appears that data classification requires a deployment. I see an option for an on-prem machine for classification. Can the on-prem agent be leveraged for classification?
No. So the answer for that is no, because agent is a very lightweighted machine whose job is to just run very basic applications that allows you to discover your resources or run native application. At the end of the day, classification is a very high machine whose actual job is to actually, in case of doing classification or investigations about your file system, to mount the data, scan that, give you reports. So for classification, you need a specific VM based upon the resources that has been specified in our doc site.
So from Andrew Fisher, can one system be connected to more than one console for data classification?
Um, You can obviously do that, but I don't see any best practices of why to do that. It basically at the end of the day, you are scanning same storage system twice by two different data classification machines. You can obviously do that, but I don't see any need for that. But obviously, if there is a use case, because right now NetApp data classification per console can only scan 500 terabytes of data. So if you have a use case where you want to scan, let's say 1 petabyte of data, so the ideal process there would be to deploy two different NetApp console agents, have two different data classification machines running behind them, and then use each console agent to scan 500 terabyte of data each.
From Jose Fernandez, can you identify the storage grid on private mode?
Um, I don't remember this on top of my head. I probably need to go back and check this. So yeah, we can answer this after this call, or yeah, I'll
Okay,
get back to this. Yeah.
I'll jot that down. That we'll get back to you, Jose. Okay, from Pradeep, does data classification require a dedicated host to scan or can use the existing connector which is used to manage the NetApp clusters?
I think we answered that before. So you need a separate virtual machine that is separate from your connector to scan your to use that as a data classification VM.
From Andrew Fisher, when installing data classification, I'm getting an error when it tries to pull the installer from Docker. Is there a known issue?
We don't have any known issue as such. Obviously, there are more than like thousands of customers worldwide who are still using data classification. This seems something like where troubleshooting is needed, so
Mhm.
we can connect back offline to discover this kind of space. But yeah, obviously there is not any known issue around this.
So from Anonymous, does the preview mode on the does the preview mode of the mover and data classification allow SMB and NFS movement deletion of stale files?
Yep, yeah, it does.
Is there a cost associated with data classification?
Data classification is free of cost. 500 terabyte of data per console you can scan.
And I'll just add that there would be the underlying infrastructure cost, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. From Anish, how does the BlueXP/console can be used for automation?
So there are two ways of seeing this. One is automation around deployment of resources. Let's say if you have to deploy a lot of CVOs, FSXNs, so you can use native REST APIs of NetApp Console to do that. The other is within the NetApp Console, there is a specific channel or a specific category of automation hub that basically provides you modules or PowerShell toolkits, Ansible modules to run automation on ONTAP for day 2 to day 3 automation, as well as some toolkits have been added there for things around migration as well, if people know about Shift toolkit. So all of those migration toolkits have been added into the automation hub of NetApp Console.
So from Kevin Campion, I cannot find the documentation for the deployment of VM for classification. Is there an OVA or Linux host with an installer?
We don't have a OVA for classification installation. So once you deploy your initial NetApp console, from there you deploy a second virtual machine with the kind of resources that is there on our NetApp docs. You go to NetApp console and browse for deployment of NetApp classification, and it will give you step-by-step commands for specific for your NetApp console that you just simply need to copy and paste on your classification VM, and it will install the classification VM and connect it to your NetApp console in the backend. But there is
And
no
I'll go ahead and
OVA.
put the documentation in the chat for the deployment for classification there. From Tiago, I actually have the same issue as Andre with a ticket currently open. I think that may have been a chat, unless there was a question what Andre had, but I'm not sure. We can come back to that. From Charles Choi, when we hit the 500 terabyte limit in classification, will the overflow spill over to additional classification servers, or will we need to redirect manually to balance the load?
So that's basically a hard limit. So it will not be able to scan as soon as it reaches 500 TB. And you for that particular, let's say SIFS or NFS share, if the scanning is being done, it will pause at that point, and you basically have to discover that particular cluster from a other NetApp console and start the scanning from there.
Can you share from Vikram? Can you share the channel details here? I'm not sure what that is in reference to.
I think it was around automation hub, if I'm not wrong, because I think that automation question was
Oh,
asked.
as you mentioned for automation. Okay, right below it.
Yes.
Can we unmute Vikram just so we can get clarification on what the ask is? Let's see. From Banu or Jay, if you have that ability.
He can. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
That was the automation hub. You got it right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Automation. Okay. And looks like Shabam just put that into the chat. Uh, Looks like the last one from Andrew Fisher. I've not been successful deploying data for classification and keeps erroring out. We've opened a case with support, but over the past 1 or 2 months, it's not been resolved. Who should we escalate this to? So depending on who you typically work with, from your NetApp team, I mean, you can definitely, I'll get your email and then I can reach out to you, and then we can see what has been going on and what we can do to get this resolved for you, Andrew. And Banu, do we have all of their emails? Do we have Andrew's email? Or
Yes,
Jay?
yes, Jacob.
Okay. Andrew, I will reach out to you and see what we can do to get this resolved quickly.
I think we have a question from Tiago as well, Jacob.
Okay, we got a new one. Oh, we got a few more. Okay. Where are we? Okay. Tiago, any plans to make a single OVA where you can enable services during the install as needed, like backup recovery, DR classification, and increase hardware as needed? My concern is the amount of agents required and the load on managing all of these individual pieces.
It's something more of like what can be derived in a future roadmap, which because of NDA, I can't answer anything as of here. But obviously, I can take this as a feedback and put it back to my product team to see if that can be done. But obviously, apart from classification, VM in the list of data services that you have added, we don't need a separate VM for any other NetApp data services. So classification is the only VM for which we require a separate VM, and there is an obvious reason as I explained before. But for any other service like backup and recovery or DR, you don't need a separate VM. The same NetApp console will work for you.
Oh, yeah.
Hello, everyone.